'Tis the season, my friends, so let's talk about some more Christmas movies. Spirited was directed by Sean Anders, the man who brought you both Daddy's Home films and Instant Family, and it stars Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. And this is a musical with completely original songs from the team of Pasek and Paul. I've gone on record to say that I'm a big fan of Pasek and Paul, so going into this, I was pretty excited. And let me just tell you, for the record, this is not beat for beat Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol in musical form. Yes, it certainly takes its influence from what many consider the greatest Christmas story ever told, but there's enough elements of reimagination thrown into the mix that makes Spirited feel wholly unique. But to be clear, Spirited is well aware that A Christmas Carol exists, and it pays perfect tribute to that story while also making fun of the cliches. Here, the ghost of Christmas Present, played by Will Ferrell, is nearing retirement, which would mean a return to Earth. So he sets his sights on an unredeemable man, a cynical businessman, Clint Briggs, played by Ryan Reynolds, and he just may end up helping the ghost come to terms with his own past. Before I get too deep into this review, guys, let me just say that I had a humongous smile on my face for the majority of the runtime of Spirited. I think this could fall in line with a lot of the Christmas classics that we all know and love these days, and it could become a yearly tradition for people to be watching this thing every holiday season, especially if you're into musical theater like I am. Pasek and Paul's songs in here are just magnificent. You just cannot help but be tapping your toes every single time one of these big numbers comes up. And there's a lot of them in this runtime. I counted about 10 of them as we went through this movie, and they're all presented extremely well. The choreography is absolutely sensational. The songs provide not only a big burst of energy, but it also really helps further the narrative, which is what a musical is supposed to do. And I feel like one edge that Spirited has over a lot of these other Christmas movies that we're getting recently, the stakes are extremely elevated here. When a song comes up in a musical, usually that means that the actor is thinking, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to elevate the stakes by singing about it. And Spirited certainly understands that. It also certainly understands the genre that it's in and the history of this genre. And this is one of my big issues with Spirited, thinking about it. This movie does make a lot of references to movies of Christmas past, no pun intended, and it was a very, very dangerous line it was treading. It could have fallen very deep into like Disenchanted territory of subtlety. But I didn't feel that way watching Spirited. I felt myself very much enjoying this story. Our two main characters are extremely charming. This whole story in general, very, very sweet, and it ends on a note that I was not fully expecting, but at the same time with this reimagining, really, really works. And I love the idea that the spirits of the Dickens narrative are running this sort of industry. And they take a whole year to pretty much research the one soul they want to redeem on Christmas Eve. That's a really neat idea. The fact that the Ghost of Christmas Present has a big old fat latte going into the office, it's something I've never really seen before. Speaking of the Ghost of Christmas Present, we gotta talk about Will Ferrell. This is an actor I've loved for a long time. I'm in the boat that thinks Will Ferrell is absolutely hilarious. Yeah, some people might say that he yells a lot of his jokes and what have you, but watch this movie and give this man credit where it's due, because he only screams maybe once or twice. In fact, he actually whispers a lot of his jokes towards the first part of the movie. And it's a really endearing character that feels trapped in his way of life. Again, it's not really a performance you typically see out of Will Ferrell, and I give the man mad props where it's due. He was absolutely great in Spirited. And this movie certainly understands Will Ferrell's history, especially as it comes to the genre. There was one little Easter egg involving a Christmas party that had me in stitches. But while we're on the subject of performances, where the hell did this performance from Ryan Reynolds come from? Like, I thought this man could do it all before in terms of comedy, but now he can sing? This guy was so much fun to watch. He is certainly a very unredeemable jerk when you meet him, but you certainly feel this full 180 with his character, and I think he captures this wonderfully. He was actually giving me a lot of Billy Flynn from Chicago vibes with his first number that he's given. It's a very impressive performance from an actor I absolutely adore. And his chemistry with Will Ferrell too, the brotherhood that they share, yeah, it's really nice. All the acting is great in here. Octavia Spencer is in this doing her thing, and she's wonderful as she always is. Like, it's hard for me to pinpoint anything I really hated about Spirited. Like, yeah, I wish some of these jokes were a little bit more subtle. Yeah, 2 hours and 7 minutes might be a little bit too long for a movie like this. But one thing that I couldn't help but notice, and this might just be in terms of the direction here, I feel like Spirited would have worked much better if it premiered as a musical rather than a movie. Just because this choreography and the way it's presented and how grand everything is, the editing around it kind of made it hard for me to see all the wonder going on here. If you're seeing this as an audience member as a stage production, you could see everything just fine. But with film and the way things are framed, you pretty much have to pick who you focus on. I had the same problem with Newsies when Disney put that out. It took a whole other decade for that to get a stage adaptation, and lo and behold, it works much better on stage. So I'm very curious to see if Pasek and Paul actually pursue putting Spirited on Broadway in the near future, because if they do, I think it would work wonderfully much better than it does on film. But besides those little nitpicks that I have, this is a very, very fun holiday special that I cannot wait to revisit year after year after year with my loved ones. Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds really knock it out of the park as a comedic duo. They are hilarious together, and I overall had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to give Spirited a B. Big surprise, right? I enjoy a musical movie. If you've been with me for a long time, yeah, I was probably gonna really like this movie anyway. But guys, let me know what you thought of Spirited down in the comments section below. What is your favorite Will Ferrell comedic performance of all time? These are just a couple of topics we can discuss all down there. I love creating these videos. I love discussing all new topics in movies and all things cinema. If these are topics you want to continue discussing with me, do consider becoming a subscriber. Hit that big red button down below. Hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a second more of the action. Do me a favor and smash the like button as well. These really help get these videos out there to more lovely viewers like you. And stay tuned for more exciting videos hitting the channel very soon over into the new calendar year 2023. A lot of big new releases that we still got to get to, like Avatar: The Way of Water and Babylon. Lots that we can still talk about, my friends, and I can't wait to have you along for the ride. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much again, and with all that being said, back talk, commence.